Happy Wednesday, folks, and a welcome back. We are at it again. We do this every Wednesday, don't we? It's pretty fun. I'm glad to be here with you. Hope you're doing good. Hope you've had a good start to the first half of your week. Now let's get on to the back half. Well, we'll have a stream first. Read some opening lines from your favorite books, talk about them from my perspective as an author, and then we'll go and enjoy the back half of the week. How's that sound? Slendy, good to see you, buddy. Raffy, you as well. Howdy, howdy, and welcome in, folks. How you doing? You had a good start to the week so far, I hope. It's been a good one here. Can't complain. Tell you what, though, I'm ready to read some opening lines. Get to some fun books that y'all like. Let's read the openings, and then we're gonna break them down. Talk about why they're good. Why do we like them? What's the author doing? What are they thinking about as they wrote them? Dobert Dodo, what's up, my dude? Welcome in. Happy Wednesday to you. What book you feeling today, my guy? What's a book that you just really love the opening for? Raffy, you said you're actually doing bad today. You're hoping the live helps. I'm sorry to hear that, my guy. That's not fun. I'm sorry, dude. I hope everything's good. But hey, I'm hoping the live helps as well. Let's make it a good one, huh? Let's bring some good vibes to it. And Raffy, by the end of it, will get you in a good place. How's that sound, buddy? That's my hope. Panda Gamer, you said, are there any fantasy movies I recommend? Oh, man. Fantasy movies are hard. There's not that many good ones, I feel like, out there. I really can't think of too many fantasy movies, honestly. I feel like there's a lot of great fantasy books, but for movies, it's kind of tough. I literally can't think of one off the top of my head right now. All right. Daubert, you said Song of the Sparrow by Lisa Ann Sandel. Jonathan Caprell, you said don't tell the other guy who streams his writing process on TikToks. Who is that? I'd love to check out what they're doing, man. See if they got some good ideas I could learn from. Lisa Ann Sandel. All right, thank you for that one. That'll be our first book. Slendy, laundry day for you, my friend. Rock on. Hey, laundry day is important. I got some laundry I got to get to folding as well. But hey, throw out some book titles. We got one we're gonna start with, but if you got a favorite book, you want me to read its opening lines, and then we'll talk about why they are good, why they do what they do. Throw it in chat, and we'll do it. Raffy, you said Absurdistan. That sounds very on brand for your recommendations. Who's it by the way? Panda, you said how much is my latest book? Wrinkly Little Hands is like $17.99 for paperback, or I think $4.99 for let's see, for Kindle. Yeah, so $17.99 for paperback and $4.99 on Kindle. Yeah. And I guess $24.95 if you want to get it on audiobook. Young author, welcome in, my friend. Welcome in. Melissa, good to see you. Oh, thank you for the author name there, Raffy. It is Gary Shteengart. I have no idea how to say that one, man. And Slendy, you're recommending The Color of Magic by the great late Sir Terry Pratchett. All right, rock on. Hey, that's a good 3. We will start there. Oh, we got a 4th one just came in. Dobert, you can suggest more than one, but try to let some other folks get their first one in before suggesting the second one. Want to make sure everybody gets theirs as best as we can. We get to everybody's. All right, Melissa, I got yours, The Nightmare Man. Good morning. This email never works. You're gonna continue the trend, huh? And put up the 3rd book in the Time Lock trilogy, or the Caretaker trilogy. Rock on. They've been fun openings so far. Oh, thank you, Slendy. Very good, very good. Don't forget to keep the list for Discord. We did say we were going to do that. Good thinking, buddy. Good thinking. What was that? I saw another book in here. Where was it? A Good Girl Guide to Murder. It's a little bit of a tongue twister for my sleepy tongue this early in the morning. All right, thank you guys. There's some good girls Guide to Murder. Okay, got it. Thank you very much, y'all. There's a good list to start with. So let's dive into it. Let's get to our first book, Song of Sparrow, Lisa Ann Sandel. Sparrows by Lisa Ann Sandel. Nope, Song of Sparrow. Looks like it is just singular. Alright, let's pull it on up here, guys. We'll grab our cover art, pull up our sample. Alright. Interesting cover. It is not readily obvious to me from this cover what genre this book is, which is an important job of a cover to convey what type of book it is, so the reader would know what to expect when picking it up. That could be my own shortcoming, a lot more so than the covers. Never quite sure, but it's cool looking. It catches your attention, I suppose. It's very bright. Raffi, you've seen this book before, huh? I've never heard of it, but that's no surprise. I live down in the word mines, so I miss a lot of stuff. All right, let's dive into it. Looks like we're kicking off with a small font book for the first one of the day. Okay, so chapter 1, interesting. Very strange. I guess this is just the sample. It's like, is the whole book written like this, or is this a sample making the text look weird? Forgot to put my phone on Do Not Disturb. One moment. There we go. It's formatted like an epic poem. Oh, okay. Interesting. Slindy, you said you wouldn't pick this up based on the cover, but that's just you. No, I could agree with you, I think. Could be because I'm a dude, but to me this almost looks like something for like an advertisement for like a wedding photography company or something. But don't judge a book by its cover, except for when we explicitly do. But at the moment, don't judge it by its cover. Mare Bear, welcome in. Glad to have you, and happy Wednesday. Let's dive into the opening of Song of the Sparrow. Motherless, sisterless, I am both. But I have brothers, dozens, nay, hundreds of brothers. Only 2 real ones, brash Levain, and my biggest brother, thoughtful Tiri. The others are not brothers by blood. There are so many of them. I call a few of them my friends. Lancelot, Arthur's second, but handsomer still. Arthur himself, who is a captain in his uncle Ambrosius Aurelius's army. The men here follow Arthur, but ultimate fealty is to Aurelius. Dux bellorum. My Latin's a little bit rusty, huh? There is Gawain, a sweet bear of a man, and Tristan, who is all mystery and mischief and glee. We live here in this army encampment, where drums beat in my dreams, and over breakfast at sunrise and sundown. The here and home I speak of is no more than the collection of dirty, foul-smelling tents. I live here in this army encampment, among men, because my mother is dead, delivered into the earth 9 years ago now, and there is no one else. Okay. Alright, that's 2 pages, those are short pages. Interesting. It is a very non-traditional opening. I'm not sure about this one, It's a very non-traditional opening, and it has not hooked me. It could be that this is not for me, but it doesn't... It's almost, I don't engage with the content on this one too much. Mare Bear, it's formatted as an epic poem. I had the same question earlier on, so that's why it looks like that. But yeah, I'm not. It is not engaging me to make me ask questions in my head, such that I then want to go on and read more. Um, and if it's an epic poem, but I don't really feel the lyricism of the poetry to it, I suppose. But art is subjective, so this might just not be resonating with me. Um, it's clearly Arthurian legend, I'm assuming. Um, but yeah, it's an interesting one. Not necessarily to my taste, but the purpose of this is not to find things to Alex's taste. It's to look at different openings and talk about them, see why they're good, what they're doing. And I've never had a book before that is formatted as an epic poem. So interesting. It's my first exposure to this outside of college, where I think I read a couple epic poems for school. Mare Bear, you said the hundreds of brothers made me ask a question and then answered it immediately. Yeah, that's fair. There's one question. Dobert, I don't know why I call you Dobert. It's because of the dodo at the end of it. I want to say Dobert Dodo, but I think it's Dobert Dodo. You always thought it was interesting because of its format. Well, it certainly is. It got my attention there. How interesting. So this is interesting to look at, y'all. It has 10,619 ratings on Goodreads, but 212 on Amazon. Is this like just the hardback edition? Is that a different edition? No, the Kindle also has 212. I wonder what that discrepancy is about. I've never really seen that before. Typically, the Goodreads ratings would be a little bit higher than Amazon in number. How interesting. Oh, Dobert. It is Dobert Dodo. All right, rock on. Well, I'm glad that I'm saying it right then. Keyshawn, good to see you. Welcome back in. Happy Wednesday to you. Hope you're doing well. Born to Celeborn, you asked, have you listened to Epic the Musical? I have. It's very good. I have a lot of fun with it. And coming from a Greek family, I'm always happy to see Greek myth and legend in pop culture again. Can you guess that Percy Jackson was big in my household? AJ, you said you now know who Asmongold is, and you can see it. You see why I get all the references, the comparisons. Yeah, man. Now you want a real crazy one, AJ. Look up Andrew Luck. He's the first person that I really was like, holy crap, I look just like this guy. All right, we're gonna move on to the next book. Keyshawn, you said you have another book recommendation. May I? Did I record yours up here yet? I don't remember if I have, but yeah, feel free to drop it in there. Because we are going to knock another one out. We're going to move on to Absurdistan by Gary. Boy, I'm going to butcher this guy's last name if I try to say it. It is Gary Shteyngaert. Shteyngaert, maybe? I apologize, Gary. I'm sure that was the worst pronunciation of your last name that has ever been pronunciated. Jack Ann, you have a book suggestion. Forbidden Alchemy by Stacy McEwen. Y'all, I can't talk today. I don't know what's going on. Trying to wake these vocal cords up. Oh, Keyshawn, I love Lockwood & Co. Absolute wonderful books. A good opening, too, if I remember. Yeah, I specifically remember the opening of book 1 is very different, so that'll be a fun one. Shteyngaert, says Raffi, is how I say it. Gary Shteyngaert. Shteyngaert. Alright, sick. Anyway, let's look at this cover. Alright, this cover's given me, like, definitely comedy book vibes, and also almost like it's going to spoof, like, a James Bond type situation, is kind of what I'm seeing here. Thank you, AJ. You said Enchantress, another book to add to the list. Enchantress by James Maxwell. All right, that's a good list for now, folks. Thank you very much for those recs. Let's tear into them. Let's get some progress here. Absurdistan by Gary Shteyngaert. Time for the funny, says Raffi. I do like the funny. All right, well, I guess prologue. There's a prologue, so we're going to do that first. Michael on YouTube, my friend, you asked, can you read from my favorite book? Well, what's the title, Michael? Let me know. Keyshawn, what was your other recommendation from last time? I don't remember. I don't remember what it was. All right. In the meantime, let us do. Oh, Divergent. Gotcha. Yeah. I like Lockwood and Co. a whole lot. It's a wonderful. I'm on book 3 of what, 5, I think, for the series. Having a lot of fun. All right, let's do Absurdistan by Gary Shteyngardt. Starts with a prologue, and boy, the text is small on this one, so bear with me, y'all. I'm gonna be a squinty old man here for a minute while I read this. Prologue: Where I'm Calling From. This is a book about love. The next 338 pages are dedicated with that cloying Russian affection that passes for real warmth to my beloved Papa, to the city of New York, to my sweet, impoverished girlfriend in the South Bronx, and to the United States Immigration and Naturalization Service. This is also a book about too much love. It's a book about being had. Let me say that right away. I've been had. They used me, took advantage of me, sized me up, knew right away they had their man, if man is the right word. Maybe this whole being had deal is genetic. I'm thinking of my grandmother here, an ardent Stalinist and faithful contributor to Leningrad Pravda until Alzheimer's took what was left of her senses. She penned the famous allegory of Stalin the Mountain Eagle, swooping down the valley to pick off 3 imperialist badgers representing Britain, America, and France, their measly bodies torn to shreds in the grasp of the Generalissimo's bloody talons. Interesting. Okay, so is this prologue? This prologue is in the world of the book. I suppose it is based on the content. All right, well, I say we read the first thing that the author puts in. That's fiction, so that's the prologue. Interesting. A little bit explainy off the bat. We've had 2 challenging ones to start. Sometimes it's like really easy to analyze, but sometimes you got to think about them. I don't know where this is going so far. I know it's going to have like Russian kind of post and or active Soviet Union vibes. I know the main character is gonna get had, as he says. Beyond that, though, I'm not entirely sure. Interesting. Let me read the back cover blurb, because that often gives me more insight. Raffi, you said reading the back cover blurb might help. All right, let's see what's going on here. Here's our back cover blurb. Wow, it's a long one. Or just kind of dense. From the critically acclaimed best-selling author of The Russian Debutante's Handbook comes the uproarious and poignant story of one very fat man and one very small country. Meet Misha Vainberg, aka Snack Daddy, a 325-pound disaster of a human being, son of the 1,238th richest man in Russia, proud holder of a degree in multicultural studies from Accidental College, USA, and patriot of no country save the great city of New York. Poor Misha wants to live in the South Bronx with his hot Latina girlfriend, but after his gangster father murders an Oklahoma businessman in Russia, all hopes of a U.S. visa are lost. Salvation lies in the tiny, oil-rich nation of Absurdistan, where a crooked consular officer will sell Misha a Belgian passport. But after a civil war breaks out between 2 competing ethnic groups and a local warlord installs hapless Misha as Minister of Multicultural Affairs, our hero soon finds himself covered in oil, fighting for his life, falling in love, and trying to figure out if a normal life is still possible in the 21st century. Okay. Yes, I would say you're correct, Raffi. That does take quite a hook. Interesting. I second Slendy's question in chat. Raffi, where do you find these comedy books? You always have the ultimate deep cuts on just like the bizarrest fiction, man. Hey, rock on. Sometimes with comedy books, they're a mixed bag because you gotta wait for them to take that pivot. I prefer ones that are funny and goofy like right off the bat, but sometimes they do a little setup before they pull the rug from beneath you and get wacky, and I feel like that's what this one's doing. The back cover blurb had a lot more personality than the opening that I was reading. When was this published? 2007. Okay, that might explain it. You had a little more leeway back then to take your time to get going. I feel like it's a little more demanding now of like you got to get it right off the bat. But thank you, Rafi, for that suggestion. Panda Gamer, you said, what type of software do you recommend to write a book? Whatever helps you write best, Panda. I just use Google Drive and Google Docs. It's nice and simple. It backs up to my phone, my computer, and my laptop, so I can access it from anywhere at any time, and it's always up to date. That's my personal preference. But there's a lot of good stuff out there. Software-wise, it depends on what you want. Scrivener, I'll put it in chat for you. The name is another good program that people recommend. It is a little bit pricey, but it's a lifetime, one-time purchase, buy and you own it type deal. I've also heard a lot of recommendations for Obsidian as another program. Alrighty, Alicia, you said you'd love a TikTok, but for books. Like you can swipe through titles and tags of blurbs and can tap through to read. That'd be pretty sick, Alicia. That'd be very cool, actually. Oh, and Dobert Dodo recommends LibreOpen Office for writing. Yep, that's another good option if you don't want to use Microsoft Word, which I personally don't because I have purchased Microsoft Word many times in my life, and somehow it always expires. Like, I'm pretty sure the last one I had expired like 2 months after I purchased it, and I have to chalk it up to some sort of mess up on Microsoft's end at this point. So I got really fed up with every time I would open Microsoft Word to do my job, it was asking me for more money. And I was like, you know what? Google Docs is free. Sure, they're probably harvesting my data, but at least I get to do my job unbothered and not not get hit up for money every time I open the program I use to literally make my living. Yeah, totally, Rafi. You can absolutely do that. You said, can I make a My Bookshelf thread where we can share the books we read? Absolutely, dude. Go for it. Leisha, Scrivener is your sister's favorite. Scrivener's great. It's really really powerful. It can do a lot of stuff. Mare Bear, what did you mean? You said your spreadsheet is on Excel? Oh, like the one that people download? You should be able to open it as a different one, as different formats, I think, right? If not, and that's blocking people from using it, I can convert it to Google Sheets. I'll make a note of that here. Yeah, Mare Bear, I think you can open .csv files, Excel files, with other software. It doesn't have to just be Excel. Give that a try. If that doesn't work and I'm wrong, I will update that spreadsheet to be a Google Sheet, which I believe is a slightly more open source, not open source, but open of use software. Yeah, okay, Jack Ann's saying it. Oh, is it raining? How lovely. I normally have my window closed because the rising sun just blasts right in through this window and melts my retinas. But no, it's raining. How lovely. What a nice morning it is now, y'all. Harpy, welcome in. Glad to see you. Jack Ann, I don't know if I said hello, but hello. And Dino Abdovic, welcome in, my friend. What's my favorite genre to read? Fantasy. For sure. I'm a big fantasy guy. I like lit RPG as well. I've kind of refound my love for that lately. I think it's a very interesting genre. Dobert, we haven't kept a list of all these books in the past, but it was recommended last stream to do so, and I think it's a very good idea. So we're going to do that. We are going to start keeping a list in Discord of all the ones. I've got my list over here on the side for my notes, and I used to delete the titles off when we had covered them, but now I'm going to keep them, and I'll post the list at the end of each stream. Maybe we'll have a running one on Discord so that folks can see it. I think that's a great idea. All right, but the next book, we have The Color of Magic by Terry Pratchett. Oh, with a redone cover too, not the traditional cover here. Very interesting. That's cool. That's very bright and interesting. I like that. Y'all, I'm well documented on stream saying I love Terry Pratchett. I don't love Terry Pratchett covers. They're very samey. They all are a little bit weird. And they have a style to them, just doesn't resonate with me. But this one's pretty sick. I'm a fan of this. Rafi, you said, Alex, could you make a hashtag bookshelf under the Roundtable channel after stream? Yes, I will make a note to do that, Rafi. I will do that. And while we're talking about it, folks, if you want to come and join us in the Discord, I am posting the link in chat now. We have a wonderful community there, and one of the many fun features that we do in there, will be the creation of this bookshelf channel we're talking about, where we will record all of the books that we've done here. It'd be funny if we could add like a tally mark to it when it gets resuggested, because like we've done Murderbot like 2 or 3 times at this point, as well as a couple other titles. So we could see who becomes the most popular suggestion over time, huh? That could be pretty fun. Oh, Slendy, you have a few from past streams written down that you could add. That'd be awesome, man. That'd be really helpful. All right. The Color of Magic by Terry Pratchett. I almost said The Color of Pratchett. That'd have been fun. All right. Oh boy, looking at the vocab in the opening line, y'all, for a morning where I'm having trouble pronouncing words, this is going to be a tough one. All right, get some water. Get the mouth ready to go. The Color of Magic by Terry Pratchett. Fire roared through the bifurcated city of Ankh-Morpork. Where it licked the wizard's quarter, it burned blue and green, and was even laced with strange sparks of the 8th color, octarine. That's such a Terry Pratchett line. I love that. Where its outriders found their way into the vats and oil stores all along Merchant Street, it progressed in a series of blazing fountains and explosions. In the streets of the perfume blenders, it burned with a sweetness. Where it touched bundles of rare and dry herbs in the storerooms of the drug masters, it made men go mad and talk to God. But by now, the whole of downtown Morpork was alight, and the richer and worthier citizens of Ankh on the far banks were bravely responding to the situation by feverishly demolishing the bridges. Oh my god, I love Terry Pratchett. What a funny line. I gotta read that again. By now, the whole of downtown Morpork was alight, and the richer and worthier citizens of Ankh on the far bank were bravely responding to the situation by feverishly demolishing the bridges. But already the ships in the Morpork docks, laden with grain, cotton, and timber, and coated with tar, were blazing merrily, and, their moorings burnt to ashes, were breasting the river Ankh on the ebb tide, igniting riverside palaces and bowers as they drifted like drowning fireflies toward the sea. In any case, sparks were riding the breeze and touching down far across the river in hidden gardens and remote rickyards. The smoke from the merry burning rose miles high in a wind-sculpted black column that could be seen across the whole of Discworld. That's one of Pratchett's best openings, in my opinion. That got several full-throated laughs out of me on that one. I love it. Very fun. Not getting us a lot of story yet, but again, y'all, we've talked about how it's interesting with comedy books. They get to play by slightly different rules than other books do, in that in a comedy book, if you're there for the funny, you're allowed to be hooked by the funny. You don't necessarily, I mean, it would be better, obviously, to hook a reader, with plot early on, which you would typically do in other genres, but in comedy, you get a bit of a pass if you can just make the reader laugh, because that's kind of what they're there for, right? And this one definitely did. No surprise, Terry Pratchett is a very funny author, but this one just absolutely wrecked me with that image of, the working side of town is burning down and the rich side of town is doing their best to help by, quote, bravely demolishing the bridges between them. What a wonderful visual. An excellent start. Terry Pratchett doing what Terry Pratchett does. Well done, Sir Terry. Love it. Thank you for recommending this one. Always a joy to do Pratchett. All right, the next one. I believe this was from Melissa. It's The Nightmare Man by J.H. Marquardt. I'm a little bit worried what we're getting into with this one. We've had some frightening, dark suggestions on stream, and The Nightmare Man does not inspire warm, cozy, fuzzy feelings on the inside. Keishant, hey, thank you for being here today, my friend. I hope the rest of your Wednesday goes wonderfully. Leisha, you said I have the audiobook. It's pretty good, though I have to say the movie is pretty accurate to the book. Oh, so is there a movie for this? Dobert, we do this stream format every Wednesday. This is our standing Wednesday format. Alright. That's a creepy cover. It's not the creepiest cover we've had, but honestly, something about the Scarecrow's arm with like the branches kind of coming out all weird is bothering me. Fat Frog, welcome in. Oh, Alicia, you're talking about The Color of Magic. The Color of Magic has a movie. How interesting. I didn't know that. That's cool. I was totally unaware of that. Is it animated, or, I mean, how is that? We gotta take a quick tangent into that. Is it live action? Bro, what? This is so bizarre. How did I, 1, not know this existed? 2, live action Terry Pratchett just feels wrong. How interesting. By the way, Fat Frog, welcome in, my friend. I meant to say hello to you and got distracted with live action Terry Pratchett. That's very bizarre, but thank you for the gift, my friend. I appreciate you. And in return, goblins for you, buddy. You give, what were they? You give, gotta expand my award window there. You give, what is this? Finger hearts. I give goblins. Melissa Lee, thank you for the confetti and the Go Popular as well. And everybody, thank you for the heart me. Just keeping up with the stream team. Y'all, goblins all around. One round on the house, huh? I appreciate y'all. Thank you very much. Oh, you're good, Melissa. You're good. All right, y'all. Well, that was bizarre. I'll have to look into that. A live-action Terry Pratchett movie. Good Omens was worked. Who said that? Raffi. Yeah, Good Omens did get the same treatment, but Good Omens is, modern day. It's not really fantasy. And like I was saying earlier, fantasy movies are, I feel like they're hard to do right. It's hard to make them not look campy. Campy can be good, but I feel like just a lot of fantasy movies fall into this weird space between, like, campy and cheesy and good, and it's just, I don't know, it's just a weird space to me, in my opinion. Either way, we're moving on to The Nightmare Man by J.H. Marquardt. Fat Frog, we have done Song of Achilles in past, but my rule is if it has been at least one stream since the last time we did the book, then it's refreshed, it's come off cooldown, and we can do it again. So I have added Song of Achilles to the list. Alright, let's do The Nightmare Man. I'm worried what we're getting into here, but let's go for it. Chapter 1. Detective Winchester Mills smelled the Petersons' barn before he saw it. The mailman had warned him on the phone. The stench is bad, Winnie. Bad enough for Ernie Palponi, who'd seen, smelled, and heard it all during his 33 years of delivering Crooked Tree's mail, to stop at the edge of the Petersons' cornfield and lose his lunch. The mailbox is overflowing, Ernie had told Mills on the phone. It isn't like them to leave town and not stop their mail, and both their trucks are in the driveway. Well, that's ominous already, and I am worried. Big worried. Detective Mills had asked Ernie to slow down and take a couple of deep ones. then requested he go knock on their doors and to stay on the line. After a few minutes of listening to Ernie's heavy breathing as he reconnoitered, tough words today, y'all, reconnoitered the Petersons' house, the mailman reported back that he'd knocked. Good and hard, too, Winnie, but to no avail. Mills told Ernie to continue on his mail route and not to mention this to anyone. He'd take care of it. But Ernie was still there when Mills arrived, sitting on the back porch rocking chair, smoking a cigar he usually saved for the end of the day, staring out at the cornfield with an undelivered bag of mail on the boards between his old dusty boots. When Mills approached the house, Ernie exhaled cigar smoke, nodded toward the cornstalk. Y'all, I'm sorry, I apologize. I can't read today. When Mills approached the house, Ernie exhaled cigar smoke, nodded towards the cornstalks. They should have harvested that field by now. Something's not right. Alright, this is doing a great job here, y'all, because I read a bit more than I normally would for these openings, because the hook was working on me. The hook was working in real time there. I might not have been able to actually enunciate what I was reading, but in my mind, I really wanted to know what's going on here. And that's how opening lines should work. That's how you drag readers in, right? Literally, from the opening line, Detective Winchester Mills smelled the Petersons' barn before he saw it. That line alone hooked me, and I had made, as a reader in my mind, I made a mental note right there to go, all right, I want to know what this is about. I want to read until I have this question answered. I mean, that's it, man. That's the author, rocking on. They're doing it. So I kept going with it, and I think I know where it's going, and yet there's still that little itch in the back of my head, I want to know where it's going. So an excellent hook. I really like, yes, you're spot on, Melissa Lee. Trust and believe you don't want the answer to the question. Yeah, no, I fully do. I fully don't want the answer to that question, but I still kind of do, right? It's a good hook. And I also really so I do like horror, y'all. I've read some scary stuff on stream here that's, put me on edge. But I do like horror, but specifically I like horror that is a very slow building, slow burn type eerie horror. And I'm getting that vibe so far from here. And I like that. Brandon Bradley, you said Yasuke's Kingdom? Yasuke's, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. It's your favorite book. All right, added to the list. List is getting a little long now today, so we'll see if we get to it all. But it's on there. Fat Frog, you said you've never read horror. A lot of gothic. You just imagine jump scares while reading. All right. I do want to read the back cover blurb for this now because I just want to know. It's got hooks in my head, and I want to know what's going on with it. Blackwood Mansion looms, surrounded by nightmare pines, atop the hill over the small town of Crooked Tree. Ben Bookman, best-selling novelist and heir to the Blackwood estate, spent a weekend at the ancestral home to finish writing his latest horror novel, The Scarecrow. Now, on the eve of the book's release, the terrible story within begins to unfold in real life. Detective Mills arrives at the scene of a gruesome murder, a family butchered and bundled inside cocoons stitched from corn husks. Well, that's horrifying. And hung from the rafters of a barn, eerily mirroring the opening of Bookman's latest novel. When another family is killed in a similar manner, Mills, along with his daughter, rookie detective Samantha Blue, is determined to find the link to the book and the killer before the story reaches its chilling climax. As the series of Scarecrow crimes continues to mirror the book, Ben quickly becomes the prime suspect. He can't remember much from the night he finished writing the novel, but he knows he wrote it in the atrium, his grandfather's forbidden room full of numbered books. Thousands of books. Books without worlds. As Ben digs deep into Blackwood history, he learns he may have triggered a release of something trapped long ago, and it won't stop with the horrors buried within the pages of his book. All right. That kind of tracks. I like that concept. That sounds interesting. And terrific. I like it. I'm a fan. Very cool. Thank you for the suggestion. 4-6. You asked for 1984 by George Orwell. Yes, my friend. I'm putting that on the list, and I'm going to bump it up a few slots because you've been asking for that for a couple streams, and we haven't gotten to it yet. So we're going to do that one after this next book. And then we'll continue with the list. Because I think last stream, it was the next one up and we didn't quite get to it. Alicia, you said a magic steeped in poison. Let me get that in there. Yo, I can't talk and I can't type. That's a cool title. A magic steeped in poison. Very interesting. Alright, next book today is... We're going to finish up doing the openings of the Caretaker trilogy by reading the opening of Time Lock by David Klass. These have been fun books so far. These have been very fun books to read the openings for. Y'all, prepare yourself for the sentence fragments. They are coming back. This author loves opening his books with short, snappy sentence fragments. That suck you in. So I'd say it's effective. Another cool cover. All the covers for this series have looked like comic books, which is a lot of fun. And... very interesting. I've not really seen that just in general, fiction books. We got another book suggestion here. Thank you, Asterin. You said Hush Hush by Becca Fitzpatrick. I'll add that to the list. Y'all, we have a pretty heavy list now, so I don't think we're not going to get to them all. But I will put them on here, and we'll pick for them, semi-randomly as we go through. So hopefully we get to them all. Or at least yours. Whichever one specifically it is you want. Alright, let's do Time Lock here by David Klass. This is book 3. Mare Bear, you're heading out. It's once again time to be a corporate cog. I wish you all a wonderful Wednesday and drink water. Mare Bear, here you go. I'll get a little hydration for you on the way out the door. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for tuning in. Hope your Wednesday passes swiftly and productively. I'm choking on my water too. Y'all, I'm rough today. I was trying to say this is book 3. Book 3 of a trilogy. We've read the opening lines for book 1 and 2, so let's round it all out. Manhattan, 7:30 in the evening. Indian summer. No way it should be this warm in late September, but I'm sweating in my t-shirt as I run through the gloaming... I don't know what this sentence is saying. Oh, there's a through in there. Y'all, I really can't read today. I'm sorry. I run through the gloaming and feel the cold prickle on the back of my neck. Someone is watching me. Now. Here. Close by. Had enough sentence fragments yet? My English teacher said they were a weakness of mine, but that was more than a year ago, when I was a senior at Hadley High School, leading a relatively normal life. Fun fact... Every one of these books, after the opening paragraph, has followed with that next paragraph. Had enough sentence fragments yet? My English teacher said they were a weakness of mine. And then the last sentence of this paragraph is always a little bit of a look back at the last book. Very gently, though. I like it. It's fun continuation. I'm not in Hadley anymore, and I can never go back. Too much has happened to me since then. Firestorm adventure to save the oceans. Over. Whirlwind trip to the Amazon. Completed. I'm a year older. I hope a bit wiser. But I still like sentence fragments. They generate pace. If you want speed, stick around, my friend. If you enjoy weird, don't budge from that chair. Okay. This is really interesting. It did this in past books as well, where the narrator talks directly to the reader. And then there are clear, selling points that the author is aware of and wants the reader to get early on. Every one of them, I believe, mentions weird and fast pace. And typically I think action-packed as well. So the author almost has their marketing keywords there, and they're like, hey, if you're looking for boom, 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 stick around. Look, it's very direct. It's not a bad idea. I quite like it as an opening. This book you judge a little differently because it is the third book in a series. So the opening is pulling different weight. It's doing different work as the third in a series than if it were the first. It's expecting that readers approaching this book have read books 1 and 2. So they're kind of already invested, Thoreau, you said Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Interesting. We have not had any Harry Potter suggestions on all of these streams so far. So I'll add it to the list. The list is too long at this point, y'all. We're definitely not getting to all of these. But I will prioritize ones that have interesting titles, have been asked for before, or we have not done before. Because a couple of these on the list we have done in the past. But thank you for suggesting books 1, 2, and 3 of the Caretaker trilogy over the course of several streams. I feel a strange sense of completion having read through them all now. At least the opening lines, obviously. All right, this one has been asked for a lot lately. I'm a little bit worried, but I'm excited as well. Y'all, we're breaking into the classic 1984 by George Orwell. Oh, boy. I'm interested how this one's going to feel. I think we did this one actually 2 or 3 streams ago. But like I say, if we go one stream without doing it, the cooldown has refreshed. And we can do it again. Yep, okay, yeah, I definitely remember this opening. We did this one about 2 weeks ago, I think. 4-6, you have classes today and you don't want to go? What classes, dude? It's tough when you're in school and you like have to go to classes, but being out of school, I find I now want to go to classes. I want to be able to pick up topics and learn about them that I wouldn't otherwise, get to do. Something about being forced to go to school, it feels like work, and then when you have to work, school feels like a privilege, right? Anyway, George Orwell, 1984. I remember this opening. It's a good opening. There's a lot to talk about in this. Thank you for the follow, Uzi. I appreciate you, and welcome in. Chapter 1. It was a bright, cold day in April, and the clocks were striking 13. Winston Smith, his chin nuzzled into his breast in an effort to escape the vile wind, slipped quickly through the glass doors of Victory Mansions, though not quickly enough to prevent a swirl of gritty dust from entering along with him. The hallway smelt of boiled cabbage and old rag mats. At one end of it, a colored poster, too large for indoor display, had been tacked to the wall. It depicted simply an enormous face, more than a meter wide, the face of a man about 45 with a heavy black mustache and ruggedly handsome features. Winston made for the stairs. It was no use trying the lift. Even at the best of times it was seldom working, and at present the electric current was cut off during daylight hours. It was part of the economy drive in preparation for Hate Week. The flat was 7 flights up, and Winston, who was 39 and had a varicose ulcer above his right ankle, went slowly, resting several times on the way. On each landing, opposite the lift shaft, the poster with the enormous face gazed from the wall. Oof, what an ominous image, y'all. I kind of like that. The thought of, trudging up the stairs, one flight at a time, and as you get to every landing, you look to the side and that poster's still there staring at you. Then you trudge up the next set of stairs, and the poster's there again. I don't know, it's just a cool image. I like that. Also, it's just such a great opening. It's a bright, cold day in April, and the clocks were striking 13. Immediately, that sets you off on hold on, something's wrong here. Something's not quite jiving in this world. It's a very good opening. I like it. This is a very moody opening that it's setting. Which, I mean, God, when did this release? When did this publish originally? Yeah, 1961. So interesting. Y'all, it's a classic for a reason. It's scary for a reason. But it's also just good, right? I love that this book sets a mood with its opening lines, and that's a very effective way to do a hook. Not only did it have a catchy line about the clock striking 13 that make you go, hold on, what's going on? It makes you ask that question that all openings should. It then fills it with this pervasive, strange, kind of off-kilter mood. It makes you unsettled. That's the word I would use for it. So it's a great opening. Dino Abdovic, thank you very much for the rose, my friend. Pleasure to have you. I appreciate your gift, and we got a rule around here. When someone gives a gift, we give a gift back. So this little goblin is for you, my friend. I hope you enjoy. And hide all the matches in your house. They have a penchant for arson. 4-6, I'm glad we finally got 1984 done. Thank you for reminding me on it. A couple streams now, but we got to it. All right, y'all, if you'll oblige me. Oh, Brandon, thank you. I will add that update to the title, Kensuke's Kingdom. Y'all, if you'll oblige me, every stream, I do like to do at least one of my books as well, and then give you my perspective as the author on what I was trying to do. So let's see. Which one should we do? Here, chat, I'm going to let you pick. Which one of the books pictured here would you like to hear the opening for? I'm partial to Wriggly Little Hands. Oh, we got one vote for the Far Wild. All right, we haven't done that one in a while. We could do that. But, oh, 2 votes for the Far Wild. Taking an early lead. Rise to Glory, competing with it. Paragon, all right. Wriggly, okay, it's kind of spread. Far Wild still in the lead. Wriggly catching up. Servant of Rage getting one. Servant of Rage on YouTube, we got another vote. So I believe Far Wild's in the lead with 3. Wriggly with 2. Servant of Rage with 2. So I'll give it another 20 seconds here, see if we get any other votes. But at the moment, it'll be Far Wild. Oh, Wriggly for the tie. Another 1 vote for Warden there. Another vote for Warden. Uh-oh, it's coming up from the back of the pack. We're currently tied with the Far Wild and Wriggly tied. Servant of Rage at 2. Warden at 2. So we need a tiebreaker, y'all. Toss a coin? All right, here, we'll do a dice roll for it. We will do a dice roll. I believe that it has D2s on here, which is functionally a coin. If not, we'll just pick like a D3 or a D4, and then other names says just do both. Yeah, but then I cut out oh, odds and evens. That makes sense. Yeah, see, there's the D2. Look at that. There is a D2 on here. All right, can y'all see that? Okay. So it was Wriggly or the Far Wild, I believe. Is that where the votes were for? Okay. All right, so I'm going to say Wriggly is 2 and the Far Wild is 1. So let's see what we're doing. The Far Wild takes it. All right. The Far Wild wins the flip. It is excellent that the D2 is coin shaped. I love it. Mighty Dice is a wonderful website. All right, y'all. If you don't know, The Far Wild is one of my books. It is one of I like it a lot, but it's not one of my best selling. But I think it's still fun. Here's our cover. It's got very Jurassic Park vibes to it, but I will say no more because typically when I read these books, read their opening lines, I don't have any other context, so we're just going to go right into it. Here are the opening lines of The Far Wild by, well, yours truly. Chapter 1, Senecio. People say the Far Wild is where you go to die. You'll drown on the voyage there. You'll waste away from the bleeding fever. You'll get eaten by some monstrous beast. But what else can you expect from the masses? Their ambition stops with what's for supper. The Far Wild's where you go to die? Ha! The Far Wild's where I came to live. I don't want much, just wealth beyond measure, fame beyond reason, and maybe a small kingdom somewhere warm. And as the quickest blade this side of the empire, with a devilish charm and the looks to match, I might add, it's only a matter of time before the masses are singing songs of my glory, singing songs of Senecio, Suleiman, Nicolau. But I've never been one for waiting, so of course I'd hired a biographer. A gentleman adventurer like myself requires someone to record his adventures, someone skilled in wordplay, someone studied in the works of the great historians, and someone who, on occasion, makes for excellent bait. Dobert, you're getting Sinbad vibes? Yeah, that's pretty spot on. The main character, Senecio, is very much an egotistical adventurer. The Empire's most beloved adventurer, or perhaps its most successful con man. I'll leave that up for you to decide. But in these opening lines, since I wrote these, I like to break them down from my perspective, because a lot of the time on this stream I am guessing at what the other authors were trying to do in their opening lines, but for this one I get to explain explicitly what we're doing. And in answer to the question in chat, what's my best-selling? Pop over to the books screen real quick. My best-selling is still Warden, right down here. My second best-selling is Wriggly Little Hands. But Warden was published in 2018. Wriggly was published this year, so Wriggly is quickly making up that gap. But presently, Warden is on top, Wrigley second. Worst selling book, Servant of Rage, regrettably. It is one of my favorite books. I really like it, but it full hard flopped on launch this year. That's how it goes. So yeah. I'll go back to the opening lines. Dino, you asked, might be a weird question, but since you wrote multiple books, how do you keep coming up with names? Like titles for the books or names for the characters? If you're talking about titles, I'm miserable at it. I'm so bad at titles. I often write the entire book trying to think of what the title is, and don't get it until I literally have to hand the final manuscript in, and I'm like, what is the title? I'm just really bad at that. As to characters, and you've clarified, you were asking about characters and places. I choose character and place names with a lot of consideration for the world they're going to take place in. So, for instance, The Far Wild is a fantasy world that I based on distinct regions in real life that were important to me. And so the main country that the characters are from is based on Cyprus. If you know my current map that I'm working on Fridays, that's not a surprise to you. So I used a lot of Greek, Cypriot, and Turkish inspiration for names. And then the place that they go to, the Far Wild, is based on an amalgamation of Florida and Australia. So that I use that for setting and place names there. So I always base character in answer to your question, I always base character and place names with consideration for the culture that I've created in the story, as well as what they are inspired by and on. I think there's another question in here that when I was talking. Brandon, you said you think Servant of Rage looks good from the cover alone. Well, thank you. It is a beautiful cover. Let's pull it up here. There we go. There it is. Big shout out to my artist on that one. I do love it. But yeah, it just didn't sell well. I mean, I think it's a great book. I put a lot of work into this one, but it just didn't sell well. Sometimes things flop. That's someone asked me recently, one of my recent TikToks, Throw, you said it looks like God of War. Yeah, it's got God of War vibes. I could see that. I describe it as Highlander meets Dragon Ball Z. In a Mongolian setting. It's set in a time inspired by the rise of Genghis Khan. Extended Damage on YouTube, you said you're doing book reviews today. Yes, so what we're doing today... sorry, one moment. There we go. What we're doing on Wednesdays is I have chat suggest book titles, their favorite book titles, and then we go and we read through the opening lines of them, and I give a little bit of an analysis as an author about what I think they're doing in those opening lines. And presently, we're on a bit of a tangent because people asked some good questions about my books and other books, and I wanted to answer them. I think there's another one. When do I start streaming? Isabel, I start streaming every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 a.m. Central Time. And we normally run for about an hour and 15 minutes. And then some days I'll randomly go longer if my work schedule's not too busy and or we're just, we're vibing with it. We'll just keep it rolling. Mincognito said, what's my favorite type of dinosaur? I like, I'm going to butcher the name, Compsognathus? Compies from Jurassic Park. I've always enjoyed the way they're depicted there is very fun. Throw, can you buy my books in Cyprus? Not in bookstores in Cyprus, but you could order them online, or you could probably request bookstores in Cyprus to order copies. That would probably work just fine. The Yimmer, you asked, who does the cover art for my books? Here, I'll pull up or not all of them, but a lot of them here. Different cover artists for each one. I used to have a lot of them memorized. I can say that Wriggly Little Hands here is Ivan Shavrin, who I've worked with most recently. The Far Wild was done by Victor Toth. I don't know. I don't remember right now who did Paragon. Servant of Rage was Ivan Djokovic, I believe. But if you're ever wondering who did my cover art, on my website where I list the books, I always credit the artist. And then as well in the title page of the book, it'll also credit the artist there. So I always like to give shout outs to my cover artists because they make my books look good and I appreciate them. Throw, you said, when's my next book? Next release is probably going to be around... boy, it's a tough one. So I have this novella, A Wriggly Little Assistant, that I've just finished. It's 17,000 words, so almost 20% of a full-length novel. This is going to be coming out within weeks. In paperback and ebook, and it will be free for Discord members and newsletter subscribers. So if you want that for free, all you got to do is join my Discord. I'll drop a link to it. This is coming out within weeks, and here's the link to Discord in both chats. And then as well, I also have Thief of Honor, which is a prequel story to Servant of Rage. It is 30,000 words long. So a third of a novel. Between the two of these, that's basically half of a novel, and this will also be coming out within weeks. They are basically done. We're putting final touches on it, and realistically, I'm just too busy with other projects to bring these across the publishing finish line. But again, this will be free to Discord members and newsletter subscribers. So the newsletter is linked in my bio. The Discord, I just dropped the chat. So if you are in either of those, you will get it for free. Otherwise, they'll be on Amazon for the cheapest I can sell them. So those will be my next two releases. Outside of that, I'm not entirely sure. I guess Paragon 4 will be coming out soon. That one's already, it's just literally waiting on the audio company, the audio producer, to finish it. After that, the next release will probably be Wriggly Little Hands 2. Step in, yes, I'm streaming on TikTok and on Twitch. Or, I'm sorry, TikTok and YouTube, not Twitch. And if you ever miss a stream, y'all, if you came in late or you missed a stream, my YouTube channel hosts replays of all of my streams, so you can check them out there. Nick, you said, what advice would you give aspiring authors? Nick, my advice for aspiring authors is to read widely, write short stories, and write a lot of them. Short stories teach you everything you need to know to write novels, but they're a lot faster, and you can do more of them because they're faster, so you learn a lot more. Writing a novel from word 0 to word 100,000, you're going to learn a lot of stuff, but it's going to take a long time. I think you're going to learn just as much stuff writing a 10,000 word short story than you will as a full novel. So the value of continuing to learn comes from then writing new short stories. And there are short story contests out there that you can submit to and see if you can't win a few of those while you're practicing and getting better and better. There was where was this? Jack Ann, I think it was. You said, are the novellas going to be paperback? I know that A Wriggly Little Assistant will be paperback. I don't know about Thief of Honor. I'm self-pubbing A Wriggly Little Assistant. Thief of Honor, my publisher, Portal Books, one of the publishers I work with, is pubbing that one. And they're not as keen on putting out a paperback version. But I think they said that they would be happy to make a few for me to give out. So we might do that because I would like a paperback version of it, especially for book fairs and in person. Throw, I do like Pokemon. I'm currently replaying Emerald at the moment. I've been replaying all the classics in order. So I did Yellow, Gold, and now I'm doing Emerald. Brandon, you discovered my live last week, and you're glad you did. You enjoy it. Well, thank you, my man. I appreciate that. I enjoy having you here. Thank you for being an active part of the community and hanging out with me. All right, we have taken a bit of a divergence from what we are doing here. So I'm going to real quickly go over my insight on the opening lines of The Far Wild, and then we'll do a few more of the books you've recommended. Because I wanted to talk about as I was saying earlier, most of the books we do here I am guessing at what the author was attempting in their opening lines. But for this one, since I wrote it, I can actually tell you what I was attempting. I know with a certainty what I was trying to do. So since the cover and the title of the book is The Far Wild, I felt like that was like the best hook to start with, and I wanted to interest people in the setting immediately. That's why the opening line is, "People say the far wild is where you go to die. You'll drown on the voyage there. You'll waste away from the bleeding fever. You'll get eaten by some monstrous beast." So that's like, I'm trying to set those hooks, right? I'm trying to make people ask questions. Why is the far wild so dangerous? What will happen there? And then, that's my immediate opening. I then want to hook you on character. So then we pivot that thought into, but what else can you expect from the masses? Their ambition stops with what's for supper. The far wilds where you go to die? Ha! The far wilds where I came to live. So that's literally two goals. I'm trying to hook you on the setting, make you ask questions about it, and then I'm trying to hook you on the character. That's the reason for the entire opening paragraph right there. So now, let's return to the books that y'all have suggested and take a few guesses at what their authors were attempting to do. All right, next book up, let's grab Hush Hush by Becca Fitzpatrick. I'm not aware of what this one is. It was suggested today, and we're going to give it a look. What do we think it is by the title, guys? A.O. Axe, you loved The Far Wild? Well, thank you, my man. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Please do leave a review if you haven't. Greatly helps me out. But thank you for saying that. I appreciate you. And welcome in. Happy Wednesday. All right. This is like a box set. Can we find an individual one? Here we go. Boy, that's a lot of repetition of Hush. Hush Hush, parentheses, the Hush Hush saga. There's 6 words there, and 4 of them are Hush. just a funny little thing. Leisha, you're guessing, or sorry, Jack Ann, you're guessing that it's a thriller. I could see that. The cover art makes me feel more like a kind of like a YA type fantasy realism story would be my guess. From the name alone, though, I was thinking thriller. Let's find out. It's giving Lucifer. Urban fantasy, Slendy? Yeah, that's a good suggestion. I think it could be urban fantasy. Which I think Lucifer is a little different because it's a TV show, but I think you could categorize that as urban fantasy. So I think you're both suggesting the same thing. All right. Prologue. Throw, thank you for stopping by. I hope you had fun today. Have a good rest of your Wednesday, and I look forward to seeing you on Friday for Fantasy Map Friday. We'll keep working on that map. The cover definitely says YA, says Jack Ann. Reminds me of the Mortal Instruments series. I could see that. Yay, you said Servant of Rage is so good, bro? Appreciate you. I appreciate you, my friend. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thank you for telling me you enjoyed it. Like I say, please do leave a review if you can. I would greatly appreciate it. It really helps me out. And you'll be happy to know that I have sold the full trilogy on that. So despite book 1 flopping, books 2 and 3 will be finished. In fact, I'm writing book 3 later this year, or book 2 later this year, and book 3 at the start of next year. So expect books 2 and 3 in Servant of Rage to be coming out relatively quickly. Despite it being a flop, we're going to finish it for the fans. And for legal obligation. All right, prologue here of Hush Hush. People are asking what the font is. I don't know. It's cool looking though, right? Small font though. Gonna be a tough one to read. Hauncey was with a farmer's daughter on the grassy banks of the Loire River when the storm rolled in, and having let his gelding wander in the meadow, was left to his own 2 feet to carry him back to the chateau. He tore a silver buckle off his shoe, placed it in the girl's palm, and watched her scurry away, mud slinging on her skirts. Then he tugged on his boots and started for home. Rain sheeted down on the darkening countryside, surrounding... Oh boy, don't ask me to read French. Oh, that's a C. That's a C. Okay, I totally missed that. The main character's name is Chauncey, which makes a lot more sense. I thought Hauncey was a weird name. I overlooked the C because it's like so graphically stylistic. Apologies, Chauncey. Your name is not Hauncey. It is Chauncey. Okay. Let's go back a sentence. Rain sheeted down on the darkening countryside surrounding the Chateau de Langai? Chauncey stepped easily over the sunken graves and humus? I'll look that up. I want to say hummus. I know it's not hummus. Humus is a dark organic material in soil that forms the complete decomposition of plant and animal matter. Okay. Fair enough. Chauncey stepped easily over the sunken graves and humus of the cemetery. Even in the thickest fog, he could find his way home from here and not fear getting lost. There was no fog tonight, but the darkness and onslaught of rain were deceiving enough. There was movement along the fringe of Chauncey's vision, and he snapped his head to the left. At first glance, what appeared to be a large angel topping a nearby monument rose to full height. Ho, ho, ho! That's ominous. Neither stone nor marble, the boy had arms and legs. His torso was naked, his feet were bare, and peasant trousers hung low on his waist. He hopped down from the monument, the ends of his black hair dripping rain. It slid down his face, which was dark as a Spaniard's. Chauncey's hand crept to the hilt of his sword. Who goes there? The boy's mouth hinted at a smile. Do not play games with the Duc de Langai. I'm sorry, I'm terrible at French, y'all. I don't even know how to pronounce it. Chauncey warned. I asked for your name. Give it. Duke. The boy leaned against a twisted willow tree. Or bastard. Chauncey unsheathed his sword. Take it back. My father was the Duc de Langai. I'm the Duc de Langai now. Oh my god, it's just tormenting me with this. I'm sure it's all so wrong. I am the French title that Alex cannot pronounce. Now, he added clumsily, and cursed himself for it. The boy gave a lazy shake of his head. Your father wasn't the old Duke. Okay, I'll cut it there, because it doesn't seem like we're getting any answers anytime soon. The image of that thing, the image of this stone-winged boy, who I'm assuming is what's pictured on the cover, or something close to it. Y'all, that sent me immediately back. Have you watched... Oh, thank you, Leisha. You gave me the French pronunciation. Lange. I know, y'all, I can speak some Korean. I can speak a fair bit of Spanish. I can speak some Greek. I can do German. I cannot do French. Full cannot do it. So thank you, Leisha, for giving me an Americanized pronunciation, Lange, for it. Anyway, have you seen Midnight Mass by any chance? Because when that stone-winged boy rose up on the graveside with the wings splaying out, it immediately sent me back to a specific scene in Midnight Mass that just gave me utter chills. And that was nice. I think that was unintentional, but it was cool. Asterin, what was my thoughts on the cover? We thought the cover gave YA vibes. From the title alone, we were thinking maybe thriller, but we're thinking YA vibes from the cover, and we guessed at a little bit of urban fantasy, perhaps. And I'd say I like the cover. I think it's cool. It certainly got me thinking about it. It's visually interesting, so very well done. Leisha, you have 15-year-old fan art from this book. That's incredible. I love that so much. Please share that in the Discord if you want to. No obligation, but that would be pretty cool to see. Okay, it's YA romance, Leisha answers the question for us. Very much in the wake of the Twilight boom. Okay. Okay, so I find it interesting. I am partial to this. I am partial to this simply because it's going for a historical element right now, and I think that's cool. And I'm also very intrigued whatever this creepy shirtless boy with wings and maybe flesh made of stone, or maybe he just mistook it for a statue. I'm not sure. But I find that intriguing. This is a little bit of a subjective opening that works for me because I love historical books, and fantasy in particular, which tends to be in a historical setting. So it's hooked me with that. And then once we get to the appearance of this strange winged boy, I'd say that's another hook. So yeah, I have to cut it short because I'm on stream and we got other books to do, but I would keep reading because I'm interested in this so far. So top marks to Hush Hush for opening and for cover. All right, next book. Let's do, this one's not appeared on stream before, y'all. Let's do Lockwood & Co., Book 1. Recently had a Netflix series, which I loved, frankly. It did not get renewed. A tragedy, in my opinion. But Lockwood & Co., Book 1, The Screaming Staircase. And Astarin, thank you for the gifts. You're too kind. Thank you very much for those roses. We got a rule around here, gifts for gifts. If you give a gift, you get a gift. So here are some goblins for you. They're yours now. Please enjoy. Don't feed them after midnight. Bad things happen. All right. This is the new cover for Lockwood & Co. I don't like it. Y'all, we gotta go. We gotta go for the original. I mean, this one even has the Netflix badge on it, but at least it's not the completely redone cover. At least, unless I'm mistaken, this is the cover that it was published with. This is the cover I know it with. This is the cover I have on my shelf. And I really like this one. Astarin, you're very welcome. I'm glad that we could do your book. Kindle, you said, can we do Shadow and Moonlight? We can try. We are wrapping up here, probably 10 more minutes on stream, and we got a long list to get through, but we're pulling with a priority to books that haven't been on stream yet. So we'll see. At the moment, we're doing Lockwood & Co., and then we'll grab another book after that. I think we'll get through... I want to get through 3 more before we wrap up today. So let's do Lockwood & Co., Book 1, The Screaming Staircase by Jonathan Stroud. Y'all, if you're old like me, you might recognize the name Jonathan Stroud from writing the Bartimaeus trilogy, which was pretty big YA back in the day. Let's see, I'll pull up the cover here. Y'all, this look familiar? This was massive when I was in middle school. Great series, honestly. And I think Lockwood & Co. is every... I don't know if... Actually, you know what? I think this might be better than Lockwood & Co. But I've read the finished Bartimaeus trilogy. I have not read all of Lockwood & Co. I'm only on book 3. Anyway, let's get to it. Love the font. Love that. So cool looking. And I remember this book has quite the opening. I was hooked instantly from it, so I'm excited to break this one down. Chapter 1. Of the first few hauntings I investigated with Lockwood & Co., I intend to say little. In part to protect the identity of the victims, in part because of the gruesome nature of the incidents, but mainly because, in a variety of ingenious ways, we succeeded in messing them all up. What a great opening line, y'all. I am such a fan of that opening right there. It feels like almost like Sherlock-esque in the style of language, but gives so much world building of like the idea of like investigating the hauntings and them all going wrong. It's very interesting. So I'll reread that opening line and then I'll continue through with some momentum. Of the first few hauntings I investigated with Lockwood & Co., I intend to say little, in part to protect the identity of the victims, in part because of the gruesome nature of the incidents, but mainly because, in a variety of ingenious ways, we succeeded in messing them all up. There, I've admitted it. Not a single one of those early cases ended as neatly as we'd have wished. Yes, the Mortlake horror was driven out, but only as far as Richmond Park, where even now it stalks by night among the silent trees. Yes, both the Grey Spectre of Aldgate and the entity known as the Clattering Bones were destroyed, but not before several further, and I now think unnecessary, deaths. And as for the creeping shadow that haunted young Mrs. Andrews to the imperilment of her sanity and her hemline, wherever she may continue to wander in this world, poor thing, there it follows too. So it was not exactly an unblemished record that we took with us, Lockwood and I, when we walked up the path to 62 Sheen Road on that misty autumn afternoon and briskly rang the bell. Y'all, I love this opening so much. This is probably just subjective. I think this is one of the greatest openings I've read in the last 5 years. There's a reason I instantly devoured this book and the second book, and I'm now on the third book. I absolutely love the world of this series. I need to get back to reading it. This email never works. Thank you for being here, my friend. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. And I'm excited to see you on Friday for Fantasy Map Friday. It'll be fun. Have a good one, buddy. All right, I want to read just a little bit more because I know something specific that's coming that I really like in this opening. We stood on the doorstep with our backs to the muffled traffic, and Lockwood's gloved right hand clasped upon the bell pull. Deep in the house, the echoes faded. I gazed at the door, at the small sun blisters on the varnish and the scuffs on the letterbox, at the 4 diamond panes of frosted glass that showed nothing beyond except for darkness. The porch had a forlorn and unused air, its corners choked with the same sodden beech leaves that littered the path and lawn. "Okay," I said. "Remember our new rules. Don't blab about everything you see. Don't speculate openly about who killed who, or how, or when. And above all, don't impersonate the client. Please, it never goes well." "That's an awful lot of don'ts, Lucy," Lockwood said. "I've plenty more. You know, I've got an excellent ear for accents. I copy people without thinking." "Fine, copy them quietly after the event. Not loudly, not in front of them, and particularly not when they're a 6-foot Irish dock worker with a speech impediment and we're a good half-mile from the public road." I love it. Such a fun opening. In fact, the part that I wanted to get to, I guess, happens later on when they start talking about how they can see, like, the glow of where deaths happened at. But that's enough. I don't want to keep reading. I don't want to dedicate too much time to this one. We got at least 2 more books to get to today. I think this is a really fun opening. It does a great job of world building. It gives great backstory that's interesting and fun, and then drops you into a new case right off the bat. It's a great opening. It's a great opening for a great book. Jonathan Stroud is a longtime bestseller. He's got many, many books that have hit and gone massive, and there's a reason for it. My man knows what he's doing. Y'all, if you like ghosts, you like creepy but not too creepy vibes, kind of murder mysteries, check out Lockwood & Co. It's a 5-book series. They're all excellent. It only gets better as it goes on. I cannot recommend it enough. All right. Some comments on YouTube. Jake Hartman, I apologize. I missed your comment, but you said cheers for the legal obligation in reference to me finishing the Blood Rage trilogy because I sold the trilogy. Even though book 1 flopped, I will be finishing that trilogy. And then Senshin, you said, "What do you think about this first line? I don't remember her. How can I remember when I have never forgotten in the first place?" It's interesting. It's an interesting line. I don't know what to make of it. I don't know what to expect out of it, but it has my attention. So that's saying something. And you got excited that I mentioned the Amulet of Samarkand from the Bartimaeus trilogy. Phoenix, you're very late, but you're here, my friend. Welcome in. You're just in time for the next book we're going to do. This was recommended really early on, and I'm sorry we're just now getting to it. A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I am unaware with this one. It's got 70,000 reviews on Amazon, so it might be a slightly popular book, huh? I'm coming into it completely blank, though. Let's look at that cover for a minute. Very interesting. I like it. It seems like this is maybe a Netflix redone opening, or at least it's got the Netflix badge on it. But I think it's a captivating cover. It's got my attention. It's cool. It's original. I dig it. Let's see how the opening lines go. I love that little ripped piece of paper up here for the chapter number. That's fun. Dobert, you said it's giving all the threads of the story vibes. Could see that. I was thinking like an investigation where you have that famous trope of like the bulletin board with yarn thread connecting all the different clues. Porque no los dos. Pip knew where they lived. Everyone in Fairview knew where they lived. Their home was like the town's own haunted house. People's footsteps quickened as they walked by, and their words strangled and died in their throats. Shrieking children would gather on the walk home from school, daring one another to run up and touch the front gate. Okay, already in love with it. Super cool. What a killer opening paragraph. But it wasn't haunted by ghosts, just 3 sad people trying to live their lives as before. A house not haunted by flickering lights or spectral falling chairs, but by dark gray spray-painted letters of "Scum Family" and stone-shattered windows. Pip had always wondered why they didn't move. Not that they had to. They hadn't done anything wrong. But she didn't know how they lived like that. How the Singes, probably, found the strength to stay here in Fairview, under the weight of so many widened eyes, of the comments whispered just loud enough to be heard, of neighborly small talk never stretching into real talk anymore. Ugh, that's brutal, man. That's so sad. But, as all good openings do, it is making me ask a question. And I'm asking the question of, what have they done? What happened? And I want to read on to know. That's how you do a good opening, folks. I'll read one more paragraph. It was a particular cruelty that their house was so close to Fairview High School, where both Andy Bell and Sal Singe had gone, where Pip would return for her senior year in a few weeks when the late summer sun dipped into September. All right. I dig it. That's a killer opening. I don't have my answer of what they did, and I want to read on to know more. If I were not on stream, I would have continued reading. So, top marks to Holly Jackson and a good girl's guide to murder, because that was a good opening. Well done. Jake Hartman, you said Jake Hartman on YouTube. You said we're in rapid fire mode. Time to read 2 openings at the same time. I would if I could, man. I'm always so sad because you all recommend such good books, and I want to get to more of them, and I never can, you know. But we can do one more. A recent recommendation. Let's do Shadow and Moonlight. I want to see what this is about. Is it of Shadow and Moonlight? If the person who suggested it, if you're still here, I think it is. I don't see. Yeah, it looks like that's what it's going to be. Yes. Okay. Cool. Kindle. Rock on. Thank you for suggesting it. Let's give it a look. This is new to me. Interesting cover. It's a beautiful sword. Some like lightning going on in the background, or maybe trees, maybe ice. I'm not entirely sure, but it looks cool. I'm getting fantasy vibes. Let's see. And the author was... Where's that author name? Oh, interesting. I just read the back cover copy. It says, "Stop. This is the original out-of-print version of the book. Book received a revised edition. Please purchase revised 2024 edition." Interesting. Let's see if we can find that. That's really interesting. I know you can't really take books off of Amazon once they're up here. So, but I don't. I guess it must be linked in here. So is it linked like in one of these other editions? Like I don't see it. Well, I'm gonna go with the. Okay, here we go. This is it. We got it. Prologue, and I didn't get an answer on the author. I can't. It's Luna Laurier. The cover's a little bit pixelated. I think it's Luna Laurier. Anyway, the prologue of Shadow and Moonlight, revised edition. "What are you drawing, Cass?" Her father peered through the doorway to find her sitting on her knees, tiny frame hunched over her art table. Papers, crayons, and pencils lay scattered across the surface in an artistically organized mess. Despite her mother having helped her clean her room only a few hours prior, her little art station looked as if it had been a mess all along. Her elbows rested on the paper she was currently fixated on, shoulders scrunched as she hovered over her work. She was focused in a way that made him question whether she'd heard him, which became clear with her lack of a response. When he rounded to face her, sneaking a glance, he laughed under his breath at the intense focus on her tiny, round face. A mess of curly chestnut hair spilled over her shoulders, little eyebrows scrunched together, her tongue sticking out the side of her mouth, as it did when she was wholly focused. She'd loved to draw from the moment she could grip a crayon in her hands. It wasn't long after that she began spending countless hours in her room, reading books with her mother at bedtime, then drawing and sketching the scenes of the pages, her dreams, anything she could imagine. At only 5, her drawings had grown from unrecognizable scribbles to clearer figures, and it had become easier to see what she was drawing. Okay, several opening paragraphs there of the prologue. So I always go with the first prose that the author has chosen to include. So in this case, that is the prologue. I will say the author is trying to hook us immediately with a question right out the gate. Sometimes when you want to hook a reader, you want them to ask a question internally. Sometimes, though, you can just have a character ask a question. I would argue I think that's a less effective way to make a hook. I think it's better when the question comes from the reader themselves. But We have a more overt question here with, "What are you drawing, Cass?" asked by, I'm assuming, the character's father. Oh, yeah, it says in the second line, her father. So yes. And then we get some paragraphs going into, I'm assuming, since this is the prologue, that she might be the main character later on. Not sure. Fat Frog, you said this is a teenage girl classic, or was that about, I think that might have been about a previous book. So we get a description of the main character. She's obviously into art. She's very focused. Now, interesting. Yeah, okay. I thought this might happen, so I want to read this paragraph. I had a suspicion, so this is good writing, I suppose, from the author. She planted this thought in my head that the drawing is not going to be something light and happy. Let's see. She shifted, exposing her work just enough for him to catch a glimpse. His brows knitted together, and he kneeled, scanning the other drawings. A number of sketches littered the table, of castles, large parties with lords and ladies, warriors fighting with swords. Peeking out from under her elbow, he caught sight of a drawing of a lonely woman sitting amidst the stars with long white hair, a sad expression on her face as she gazed into the dark loneliness around her. Okay, interesting. I had a suspicion that might be coming. So yeah, solid opening. It's, got a question to make you continue reading and want the answer to. And it does answer it, and then once it answers it, it gives you a little bit more of a question. Especially because it's contrasted with the happier drawings around it into one that's not so happy. That's also mirrored, an interesting thing I noticed, that's mirrored in her father. Her father is very happy when looking at her, and he's like got a happy smile, kind of an amused type kind of happiness. And then he comes around to the drawing and his brow knits together and he's not so happy anymore. That's a very distinct and I think noticeable tone shift. I think the author's conveying something to us intentionally with that. So very good. I like it. I'm not, horribly hooked. It wasn't just a get over here, grab you by the shirt and drag you through. But it was enough that I would continue reading because I'd want to know more, and I'm very interested in that tonal shift. Yeah, Alicia, I agree. You said it was a very distinct shift. It was, and I think that means it was intentional. Rock on. I like it. Thank you for suggesting it. I would be interested to read more. And in fact, I want to read the back cover blurb real quick. A woman fated to die young, a man cursed to live forever, and a darkness that threatens to destroy everything they love. Cassie was never able to experience the life that many take for granted, the freedom to dictate her own journey. No, her life had been sheltered, protected from an inevitable fate that would come for her regardless of what anyone could do. After her medical condition goes downhill, she is left with a few years of breath in her lungs and a choice: die alone, without ever experiencing what it truly means to feel alive and free, or to find that light, that missing puzzle piece, that feeling of not feeling so alone in her final days. When Damien appears in her life, her world turns upside down, when he shows her the hidden magic that lies in the shadows of her world and within herself. Suddenly plunged into a hidden war that has raged for countless centuries between gods and monsters, Cassie begins to feel the weight of her secret, which she has kept hidden all her life. Cassie must embrace the tragic, dark history that runs through the blood in her veins, or risk the world falling into darkness. Her world falling into darkness. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, that kind of tracks. I'd be really interested to read chapter 1. Because I feel like, so if you can oblige me a bit of a shop talk for a minute. There's been pushback against prologues in the industry recently. I think it's kind of maybe moving on. I think prologues are becoming back into fashion, but there is pushback against them because prologues, when done well, are great. But prologues, when done poorly, just delay you getting to the story. And I like the opening line of this chapter 1 so much better than the prologue. Death eventually came for everyone, but it was coming for me sooner rather than later. That, to me, is a much better opening line than, what are you drawing, Cass? Again, it's subjective, but I was hooked a lot more by the drama and the mystery of this opening line than I was that of the prologue. And I think that points to why prologues were getting pushback. They're hard to do. They're effective when done right, but if done wrong, they could stop someone from getting into your book before they even get to the first chapter. Arguably, you could say if it's a prologue, it is the first chapter anyway, despite what it's called. But I don't know. I liked the opening line of that first chapter a lot. So just some thoughts. Prince Hulk, you said, Alex, on YouTube, you said, Alex, why do you always wear that jacket? It's just an overshirt. It looks better than just like a t-shirt. Like if I'm just chilling with a t-shirt, like it looks a little plain. So I pop a little color in by wearing an overshirt or something a little different. All right, let's do one bonus book. I really do need to run and get to work, but we're going to do one more book today because I feel bad. We got a lot of good ones on the list that I just didn't get to. Also, Millie, good morning. Good to see you. Welcome in. I want to do a Magic Steeped in Poison. That title really jumped out at me. Nathan, I have not read The Naturals, I don't think. Let me pull it up real quick and look at the cover. No, I don't believe we've read that. I have not read it. I don't believe I've read it on stream for this format. But poison steeped in magic. Oh no, sorry, a magic steeped in poison. Yeah, I switched those words. I love this cover off the bat. Super cool. I love when an artist can blend the text of the title into the art without it taking away from it. This is a great example of that. I'm a huge fan of this cover. Very bright, very colorful, very interesting. It's giving me a vibe. I'm very excited to read the opening now. A Poison Steeped in Magic by Judy I. Lin. I think I said it wrong again. Did I say a poison steeped in magic again? A magic steeped in poison. Come on, Alex. Words. They go in a certain order. All right. Chapter 1 of A Magic Steeped in Poison. I can do this. I have the power to say it correctly. They say you can spot a... oh, boy. We got words that I'm going to pronounce terribly again. I apologize. They say you can spot a true Shinong Shi by their hands. Palms colored by the stain of the earth. Fingertips scarred from thorns. A permanent crust of soil and blood darkening the crescents of their nails. Ooh, what an opening sentence. That was sick, dude. I really like that. They say you can spot a true Shinong Shi by their hands. Palms colored by the stain of the earth. Fingertips scarred from thorns. A permanent crust of soil and blood darkening the crescents of their nails. Whew. I used to look at my hands with pride. Okay, I gotta stop right there. That is a 1-2 punch that's really fascinating. So it starts by saying you can always tell this, I'm assuming mythical creature, ghost spirit type vibe by their hands. You can identify them by their palms covered by the stain of the earth, fingertips scarred from thorns, permanent crust of soil and blood darkening the crests of their nails. So it sets that up. And then the immediate next sentence, I used to look at my hands with pride. That 1-2 punch immediately makes you go, oh no, have her hands, or I'm assuming her, has the main character's hands become like this? That's such a cool hook. Not to mention, there's one initial hook in that awesome description of, I'm assuming, a mythical creature. That's a cool hook as well, because now I want to know more about that. But there's a secondary hook of, I used to look at my hands with pride that makes you go, oh, does the main character's hands now look like this? Have they become this mythical creature? And that's just a cascade of hooks right off the bat. That's really efficient storytelling. I used to look at my hands with pride. Now all I can think is, these are the hands that buried my mother. Our house is dim and quiet as I move through the rooms like a thief, rifling through boxes and drawers, fumbling with things my father kept hidden so as not to be reminded of his grief. I weave between chairs and baskets, drying racks and jars, my footsteps careful. I can hear Shu coughing softly through the walls, tossing in her bed. She has gotten worse in these past few days. Soon the poison will take her, as it did our mother, which is why I must leave tonight, before my father tries to stop me, and I'm bound here by guilt and fear until it is too late. I touch the scroll hidden in the folds of my tunic to reassure myself it is still there. I find what I'm looking for in the back of the storeroom, my mother's Shinong Shi box, hidden from view in a corner cupboard. Memories slip from beneath the opened lid with a sigh, as if they've been waiting for me there in the tea-scented dark. I run my fingers over each groove in the wood, touching every compartment, remembering how we repeated the names of the stored items over and over. This box is a map of her teachings, her stories, her magic. But the sight brings back other memories. A broken teacup, a dark stain on our floor. I shut the lid quickly. Oh, yeah. Okay, Fat Frog, you just said in chat, out of all of these today, I'm defo going to read this one. Plus yours, of course. Fat Frog, I agree. What I wanted to say from that opening is, as an author, you learn to look at things analytically. I look at books and storytelling from a very analytical, magic removed, stripped down, business first sort of way. It's a rare thing today to find books that just absolutely captivate me and are so good that they blow away that instinct to analyze the book and just and allow me just to kick back and read it. This has done that. There aren't a lot of books that hit me like that. My to be read pile is way too big. This might be going on it. I know nothing about it, but these opening lines have fully convinced me that this author knows how to write. Most of these books that we read on here are from authors more accomplished than me, who are very good authors, who have sold a lot of books. This one goes even further than that. I mean, I didn't even look. How many reviews have we got? 1,600 reviews. That's darn good. But this writing is just next level. Absolutely captivating. Very impressed. I think I'm going to reread it one more time because I really liked that. Sung Moon, welcome in. Good to see you. Happy Wednesday to you. I hope you're doing well. Glad to have you back. I apologize. We are just wrapping up here, but I'm going to reread this opening of, I'm going to say it right, A Magic Steeped in Poison, because, wow, y'all, this hit harder for me than most openings we've done on this stream. This is a heck of a good one. And then Nathan, I'll follow up by answering your question after I think about it for a minute. It's a good question. All right, I'm going to read this one more time without stopping because I stopped so much on the first read-through because it was awesome. Yes, Brandon, I'm sorry we did not get to your suggestion today. I try to get to as many as we can. In fact, I've gone 30 minutes overtime here to do more. But please do suggest it again. And sometimes if we don't get to it the first time and you re-suggest it, I will give it priority the second time. So please come back next Wednesday and suggest it again, and we will give it priority. Chapter 1. They say you can spot a true Shenong Shi by their hands, palm colored by the stain of the earth, fingertips scarred from thorns, a permanent crust of soil and blood darkening the crescents of their nails. I used to look at my hands with pride. Now, all I can think is, these are the hands that buried my mother. Our house is dim and quiet as I move through the rooms like a thief, rifling through boxes and drawers, fumbling with things my father kept hidden so as not to be reminded of his grief. I weave between chairs and baskets, drying racks and jars, my footsteps careful. I can hear Shu coughing softly through the walls, tossing in her bed. She has gotten worse in these past few days. Soon, the poison will take her, as it did our mother. Which is why I must leave tonight, before my father tries to stop me, and I'm bound here by guilt and fear until it is too late. I touch the scroll hidden in the folds of my tunic to reassure myself it is still there. I find what I'm looking for in the back of the storeroom, my mother's Shenong Shi box, hidden from view in a corner cupboard. Memories slip from beneath the opened lid with a sigh, as if they've been waiting for me there in the tea-scented dark. I run my fingers over each groove in the wood, touching every compartment, remembering how we repeated the names of the stored items over and over again. This box is a map of her teachings, her stories, her magic. But the sight brings back other memories. A broken teacup, a dark stain on our floor. I shut the lid quickly. This is sick, y'all. I'm very interested. Just I gotta move on from it, but I want to call out. I love the description. Memories slip from beneath the opened lid with a sigh, as if they've been waiting for me there in the tea-scented dark. Ha! Woof! That's writing, y'all. Yo, shout out to Judy I. Lin. I've not heard of her. To quote the meme, I was not familiar with your game. This is excellent writing. I'm super intrigued. I don't even know what this book's about. The writing alone and the cover have full sold me. on it, so I think I'm going to have to get this and read it. My to be read pile is screaming at me in the corner. It's already too big, but this is really good. Sung Moon, yeah, I'm sorry to be wrapping up here right as you join at the end. My live schedule is Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 7 a.m. Central Time. So I'll always be streaming those days. Sometimes I'll do random streams. You'll just see me pop up, but primarily Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 a.m. Central. So we'll be back this Friday at 7 a.m. for Fantasy Map Friday. We're going to keep working on our map over here. Let's see, here it is. Here's a good little graphic for it. So we'll see you Friday at 7 a.m. Central. But Sung Moon, if you want to watch more and you want to see what you missed on stream, please do check out my YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/@authoralexknight. It's also linked in my bio. All of my streams are recorded and saved there. So if you want to see what we covered today, please do go watch the replay. It's all there for you. Sinner Queen, I apologize. Same thing. We are wrapping up. We did our 45-minute stream today. We got through, let's see, a lot of books today, man. We were pushing it. We did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 books today. So I'm pretty happy about that. I was trying to get through more, and we did a good job of it. We only didn't get to 3 that were suggested. So y'all, if I did not get to your book today, I sincerely apologize. I would love to get to them all. There's just not time enough in the day for it. I am now going to end stream and go do my job writing. So I'm targeting 4,000 words today. We'll see if we get there. But if I didn't get to your book, please, next Wednesday, come on back and suggest it again. And let me know that we didn't do it last time. I'll probably remember, but let me know just in case. And I will give it priority in the ranking to make sure we get to it that time. Anyway, folks, thank you for being here today. It's been a pleasure to hang out with you. I've had a lot of fun. I hope you did. We ended on a really strong book. I'm so glad we did one more. We pushed a little bit longer to get that one. Thank you for your wonderful suggestions today, everyone. And as always, a special thanks to Kevin MacLeod of Incompetech.com for the use of his songs, Farm, Manor, Cottages, and Northern Glade, which provided our background music today. As well, an extra special thank you to community member Raffi the Engineer, who, y'all know it, he made our 5th background song, Midnight at the Round Table. Thank you, Raffi. Composed that song just for stream. That's awesome, man. I appreciate you. Of course, the stream wouldn't be complete without a shout out to my excellent mods, Aaron Winnick, Leisha T, aka Slendy, other name wasn't available, Simp1X, One Happy Harpy, Raffi the Engineer, and Melissa Lee 28. Y'all, I appreciate you immensely. Thank you for keeping the vibes rolling. Lastly, if you enjoyed the stream, folks, please give me a follow so I can see you on the next one. That will be Friday at 7 a.m. Central. We will be here making fantasy maps. It's going to be fun. We got an excellent map we've been working on. I'm excited to see y'all for that. Sinner Queen, you said you're going to sub on YouTube. I've been looking for someone who likes books and maps very specifically. Well, my friend, you have found the right place. Please feel free to browse through my YouTube profile, YouTube account page, whatever it's called. There's a lot of content on there. We're approaching 100 streams. I got a lot of videos. You can watch the past streams. And yeah, there'll be more content coming soon. So thank you for being here, y'all. It's a pleasure to hang out with you today. I had a ton of fun. I hope you did too. And I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Y'all, have a great Wednesday. Be excellent to each other. And I will catch you next time.